Ladies and gentlemen, KageKaze back here, taking up immediately after the last video. Is what I'm going to do here is kind of a double feature, probably get both of these videos up right away if I can. Depends on how quickly I can get them rendered and uploaded to YouTube. So what I'm going to do here before I continue on to the next quest is, this character is mostly going to be self-sufficient, but what I am going to do is I'm going to take a look at what some of the low-level crafting can do for me as I'm here. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm here, I'm going to look at what I can make for this character using the base materials here. And to do that, we can go up here to the filter and say can equip. Same thing with the armor, can equip. And as you can see, there's really not a lot at this level, level 5. I can make a 7.1 axe. It's got 2 properties. That's pretty good because that'll replace the current weapon I've got. I could make a crossbow. I can use crossbows, but it's a bit slower and it doesn't allow me to use an offhand. So I think I want to go more towards the faster ability here. So what that takes is 6 materials, 6 of the essences. Of the items I found, I pretty much had 4 from the items I disenchanted, so it's not far off that I would have that. That was about, what, 495? Yeah. So what do I get? Wow. I get a life leech weapon. It's not terribly great. It is less DPS, but each hit adds 2 to life, which at this level isn't terribly bad, at 226 health pool. So it's about 1% per hit. That can be pretty good. And I get damage dealt converted to life, life leech. Now, life leech is one of those things that, honestly, at this level is not going to be that great, I don't think. It usually does better at higher damage levels, and especially when you're hitting more than one target. See, the thing about life on hit compared to life leech is life on hit has a coefficient that makes it do less damage, or sorry, makes it give you less health based on what the skill is, or more. It depends on how fast the skill is sometimes. For example, Frenzy on a Barbarian suffers from a 0.7 or 70% coefficient for life on hit, meaning every time you hit with Frenzy, you're only getting 70% of the actual life on hit value that your character sheet has. Damage dealt converted to life has no such coefficient. Everything you do as damage is returned to you as a percentage of life. And they had we had some blue posts about that, talking about how you could do well with that with high damage and hitting, like, for example, using the Arcane Orb of a wizard and hitting a lot of things at once. So yeah, I'm going to use quite a bit of mats here that I wouldn't normally have access to just yet, because you normally craft to fill holes in your armor, and right now I have so many holes because I haven't picked up enough. So I have extra mats, and I'll be getting them back as I go, so I'm not too worried about spending it, or that it would be breaking the experience at this level right now. So I got some chest armor with 18 armor, 3 vitality, and I get some extra experience. There we go, some new looking armor. And some boots with movement speed and dexterity. The dex isn't that great, but the movement speed is where it's at. I've actually been hearing that a lot of ranged like movement speed, and that's fully understandable. Movement speed is one of those things that you cannot quantify as far as DPS, as far as your damage goes, and as far as survivability goes.
Things for you this fine day.
And it is written.
Simply because it allows you to move out of dangerous situations and move in to do damage quickly, but there's no numbers as far as damage goes that you can put to it.
Uncle, you're alive!
Thanks to you and your friend here.
I seek your wisdom. Tell me of the fallen star.
The prophecy of the end days surely points to it as a sign that the end has begun.
Please, Uncle, not more of your stories. All that matters now is that you're back.
The Skeleton King was once our beloved lord, Leoric. He was driven mad by Diablo's evil. He lost both of his sons and his very soul before he was finally defeated. Now it seems he's risen to plague this land once again.
The Leoric should be in the unformed land, yet he stands between me and the fallen star.
The key to defeating him lies in his old crown. Seek out our blacksmith, Hadrig. He knows of its whereabouts.
Yes.
Leia, you should not dismiss the signs so lightly. Do you not believe the evidence of your own eyes?
Horrors have visited Tristram before, and it endured.
But what of the texts? The Zakharum tomes warn of a falling star. The Herodric scroll spoke of the dead rising, and the Lord of Lies, the prophecy of the end days, says that at the end of all things, the first sign shall appear in the heavens.
Yes, you've been telling me about the texts since I was 8 years old, Uncle. I just don't think we should read too much into them.
I like those little side conversations. Actually, when you walk by people, you can usually hear them talking to each other.
Shall come a monarch whose rule begins in blood and ends in bone. In the light of a comet will he die a third and final.
Every scholar of demonic law has heard of KageKaze. Thanks to you, I got to see him in the flesh.
What do you know of Leah and her uncle?
Not too much, I'm afraid. They came here almost a year ago. She split her time between looking after him and helping out the town. He spent his days in the old cathedral, looking for old texts from what I hear. They were inside when that thing hit. She's lucky to be alive.
And Deckard Cain. He's so badass. He can survive a massive fall and a star falling on his head. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what legends are made of.
New journal.
Uncle Deckard is home, rescued from the clutches of the Skeleton King. I'm so glad. But the Skeleton King, I thought he was a folktale. The idea of Mad King Leoric returning to torture this place. Hasn't Tristram suffered enough?
No, apparently it
Yes, I
hasn't.
don't touch anything unless you're buying it. I like to keep my inventory clean.
Leah spent all night alongside the blacksmith's wife, tending the wounded.
Did you hear? Old Rumford has us down to half rations.
So you can see, here is your Jewel Crafter. He will not, of course, be here on the first playthroughs, but you can get a few conversations from him if you talk to him early that you'll need for your achievements. And of course here, if you've watched the video from Trebus of SC2 New School, you would see, you would recognize Reddick the Fence. And one of the things he gives out that is amazing for this level are rings. As you can see here, this one's Dex and Experience. That's not all that great. That'll help you for leveling, but this one has Experience too and does 2 to 4 damage. This ring single-handedly, and getting more than one, can double or triple your DPS at this level. So if you look at your damage, 4 to 7 is my current weapon. So this 2 rings would pretty much double the damage that I do right now. So I could really kind of almost, it would feel like you're breaking the system because you'd be doing so much damage, but the item is available to you at that level, as you can see here. Now it is fairly pricey for someone just starting up, so it's something you'd probably get on subsequent playthroughs in order to speed up the process, especially because it would give you 10 experience per kill.
Blacksmith, Deckard Cain said you could help me find the crown of Leoric.
Not now. It's my wife. She's locked in the cellar like all those who've been bitten. I'm to put them all down. But how can I kill my own wife?
It must be done, Blacksmith. I will help you.
Thank you. Follow me. Friends, I'm sorry.
They suffer, Blacksmith. Aid us.
Kill it! Kill it! There you go. Good spiders.
Needs more time.
Firebat seems like it has a longer range than it lets on.
My love, forgive me.
Hedrig, help me.
Need more mana.
Now I already have this achievement, but for those who don't know, if you let Hedrig get the final blow on Mira, you get an achievement. So you can see here, you can just kind of bring her low, and wow, she's actually hitting me with that. Takes him a bit. He's only doing 1 damage here in this instance, but you can let him kill her. I'll just kind of show it here, even though I have it. It won't toast, unfortunately, but go ahead. Go ahead. Good man, Hedrig. That's how you do a divorce, medieval style. Suppose you don't have to worry about division of goods, right? I mean, you can't divide everything up if the other party's dead.
I couldn't have done this without you. I'm in your debt. My name is Hedrig Aemon.
I need your assistance, Hedrig. I search for the crown of Leoric.
I can help you there. It's buried with his chancellor, my grandfather. You'll find his tomb in a cemetery in the Weeping Hollow. And if you see my fool apprentice out there, tell him to get back to town.
Alright, so I now have a two-handed axe that gives me life per kill and some experience. So I can go ahead and put that on just to show it off. Like, let me just kind of see how much slower I attack. See? That is pretty slow, and that, I mean, you can see the wind-up. This is why a lot of range classes will prefer one-handed or, to some extent, dual-wielding, because the turnaround time there for me to attack is really high compared to if I've got these. I can run and shoot pretty quickly with the higher attack speed. I kind of wish the wind-up wouldn't be affected by it, and maybe just the time between attacks would be increased rather than the time it takes me to actually attack. Just to make it so that two-handed weapons would be a little more viable for a ranged character, especially casters. Oh yeah, this is being new. The whole portal, instead of running through, to keep you from kiting monsters into town. A nice change, but it feels a little odd to have to go through portals now.
During the last days of King Leoric's reign, even the skeletons of the ancient dead could not rest. They took up their broken armor and weapons once more, ready to cut down anything that yet drew breath. Though wasted and fragile, these creatures possess a twisted cleverness that makes them quite formidable.
You know, I just realized one thing that makes that portal feel a little awkward to me. When you go across that bridge, you're supposed to be attacked by a very quick pack to kind of, basically make you fight on that bridge. It feels kind of odd not having that real quick ambush after being used to it all this time. Oh, hello. Well, those dogs ran up on me, so I used my fire bats, charging my laser.
Scavengers are ugly, pathetic creatures who survive off of carrion and corpses, too diseased to attract any other carnivores. I did once meet a raggedy fellow who claimed that he had trained one of the beasts to bring him large rats to eat. But I'm sure the story is utter nonsense.
Alright, so we've gotten our first rune at level 6. This is for Poison Dart. This is Splinters. what it does is it changes the skill up completely. So it makes it so that I shoot 3 poison darts that deal 60% weapon damage as poison each. So the good news about this is it is kind of a DPS increase. So you take the 60 by 3 and you come out with 180. So the base does 100 plus 40, so 140. So you're looking at 40% more weapon damage. But the beautiful thing too is that the 40 over 2 may not always happen, so you're actually getting that damage all at once. Splinters is a skill I see a lot of witch doctors in Inferno using. And a lot of people swearing by it. As you can see here, it's fairly quick. It's a good skill to have. Now, there's 2 things that really make this skill great. 1, it does a high amount of damage to a single target. 2, if you kill the first target, it still does damage to targets behind it. It is still a direct attack, meaning that monsters can block the path of it, but if that monster can be killed, you might still do damage to the creatures beyond it anyway. Now, since I've got Splinters to do a fairly long-range attack, and I've got Fire Bats for close range, here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I think I'll keep that. So, I'll keep things as it is. Looking at what the next ability is, I can make a change on the next level. So, let's see. Let's compare items here. Oh, I don't have any bracers. Go ahead and get that. Put that on. Don't need that. Ooh, an 11.6 one-hand. So this one-hand is a fine saber, so it's going to do more damage even than this two-handed. So, yeah, I'm going to lose my life on hit and my life leech, but hey, I'm going to do more damage. There we go, 14 DPS. So there go those crafting mats, but hey. So what I see a lot of witch doctors doing with Splinters is they would stack their increased attack speed to be able to fire the Splinters off kind of like a machine gun. Very useful, especially since Splinters has a low magic cost. You have to think about it. When I first played in the beta, I thought that improved attack speed, or anything that makes you attack quickly as a witch doctor, was going to be not that great. That was my prediction based on the fact that the more attack speed you get, the more mana things cost. Ergo, you're attacking faster, you have less resources, you usually want to hit harder and attack slower. But as it turns out, with the improved attack speed, something like Splinters becomes very, very powerful because it's such a low mana cost. You compensate the low mana cost, low damage for high speed. Alright, found Hadrig's apprentice. And he seems to have a guaranteed blue now. They changed that in one of the later beta builds. And this was kind of the problem with improved attack speed, is it was proving to be so useful for every class to the detriment of other stats, and this is pretty much why they nerfed it. Now, the beautiful thing is that improved attack speed is still one of the better stats, if not the best for some classes still. It's just that it is more viable to use other stats now because the improved attack speed is now in line with everything else. So yeah, it did kind of suck that they removed the improved attack speed from existing weapons. I know myself, as well as others, lost some damage because of the weapons and armor we had, which gave us improved attack speed at the time. So it was a good thing they lowered the damage of Inferno, because our damage going down meant we were going to have to gear up again anyway. I did not want that gray. Why did I pick up that? Go away. No. No. Out of my inventory. Bad gray. Bad. So I do like Splinters. Whether or not I end up using it in the end, I don't know. It does do quite a bit of damage for minimal cost, as you can see here. I'm just pretty much tearing through things.
Needs more time.
So yeah, the fire bats I definitely seeing as being one of those skills that you're not going to use in the end, at least in this incarnation. Simply because standing still at this range, not a great idea. Although you could make it work if you've slowed the monster quite a bit. And this is where pets really need to come in. Pets would be what you would want to use for something like getting in to use fire bats. You know, you've got this ability, right, that's going to make you stand still, and that is a fairly short range. I mean, thankfully it has a longer range than it lets on. I can hit things probably out to, let's kind of test it here. They're out there. That's just beyond my range. If I take just a step, there you go. So, that's a fairly good range to it, actually. But it's still mid-range compared to this. Great for things that come up on me and need to die quickly, but very bad for anything that can do any kind of damage to me, such as these elites, who are fast apparently. Let's just kind of tear through them with my splinters. Yeah, see, she's blocking my attack with zombies. But then that's where you would want your pets, right? You'd want your pet in there taking damage, holding the enemy still while you get in close and just nuke the mob. Now, I don't expect the pet to be able to sit there and take damage all day and I never have to worry about getting hit. But I would like the I would like that to work out a little more. So, because what I'm hearing is Inferno, they really were dying in just 1 to 2 hits, which, when you're dealing with packs of elites, that's no bueno.
This grave soil is disturbed.
Oh, the Hangman's tree.
Bound to these corpses. This is not just. Needs more time. I have freed their spirits.
I think that might have been the first time I've gotten this event since the game came out.
The cold ground welcomes the foul bodies of these cool men. They sought to prolong their lives through forbidden magic at great and cruel cost to others. Their evil fed on itself until it consumed them all, and they found themselves at the end of a hangman's rope.
No, you don't. You are not getting away.
Some devious little goblins have been robbing our merchants. When pursued, they simply open portals and disappear with the most aggravating chuckle. The peasantry seem to believe that the goblins serve a great demon lord known as Greed. And furthermore, that their portals lead to Greed's domain. A ludicrous notion, truly.
Truly. Alright, anything good? I got 7 armor, 2 experience, 7 armor, golden health pickup. Let's take the experience. Get rid of that. Oh, another elite. See, now these guys, these are the fast kind of packs that you're really not going to, even with the slow, I'm not able to slow them down too much.
More time.
These are the kind of things that cause hell in Inferno and need to be slowed as much as possible. Of course, now with the reduced damages, I honestly think that ranged classes can get away now with more defensive builds. A lot don't use it, and I think a lot of people still think that you can't get away with it just because of the damages they've seen in the past. But I have heard of, say, a demon hunter picking up resistance and vitality and being able to take a few hits without too much issue, as long as they don't take a lot. And I think that's good. I think, and the reason for that is it allows use of some skills that previously, when you were doing glass cannon builds all the time, were useless, such as an ability on Demon Hunters had this ability for Chakram. Or no, I'm sorry, not Chakram, it was for Fan of Knives. It was one of the Fan of Knives runes that made it so that when you used it, instead of attacking right away, it put kind of a barrier around you. And when you got hit, the barrier would go off, dealing a lot of damage to everything around you. So it increased the damage quite a bit of Fan of Knives, but the requirement was to basically have it up and then get hit while wearing it. So unfortunately, that is not going to work for a build or a class that dies instantaneously. So, oh boy, you're going to put out a whole bunch of damage, but what's the point? You're dead. So, you know, especially in hardcore, you know, that's essentially useless. You know, maybe if you're in a group and you want to do something before you die, maybe. Alright, I've explored pretty much most of this. Let's just go ahead and get the center out of the way, as there will be creatures there, and I'm getting close to leveling.
I grow in power.
Excellent. Level 7 Unbreakable Grasp is my new rune. That makes me happy. Let's go ahead and look at it. This is for Grasp of the Dead. Increases the slow amount to 80%. So this has become even more like Caltrops for the Demon Hunter. Caltrops did the exact same thing. Would slow enemies by 60. The first rune would make them slow by 80. Difference being that this is an ability that does damage as well. So the slow amount going up to 80% is great for two reasons. One, it keeps enemies off of you. Two, if the enemies are fast, it makes the enemies stay in there longer, right? Which is the benefit of it being 80%. They stay off of you, so they're slower. But because they're slower, they're going to stay in the grasp longer. And that means that they will be taking more damage. So the slow, even though it just, all this rune does is increases the slow, but that by nature also increases the DPS of the ability. So it's 20% weapon damage for 8 seconds. Now keep in mind that says 20% for 8 seconds, it's not 20% over 8 seconds. If it said over 8 seconds, that means it would only do 20% damage in total. So it's doing 20% weapon damage, probably based on your attack speed on this one. Now, not a lot of dots get affected by, or not all dots get affected by improved attack speed, and that's something to watch out for. This one appears like it would. So yeah, now I have an ability that allows me to slow the enemy down, kite them a bit more. Okay, golden pickup range. What about this real quick? Magic Find. I'll take it. More armor as well. Oh yeah, let's see, 7.2, no, 7.1. Nope, okay. So yeah, I am liking this Grasp of the Dead rune. Let me just go ahead and throw it out there. That's pretty cool. Look how slow they move. I like it. It's like a well of souls, to be honest. Now the thing is, I really love the default art of Grasp of the Dead. I love the hands that reach out from the underground. And the problem is, unfortunately, that's only the default art, and all the other art is different. Equally as cool, but I can't just use the hands unless I honestly gimp myself as far as my abilities go. For example, Groping Eels is another rune you get for this skill, which increases the damage it does over time. The problem is, it replaces the hands with literally just a whole bunch of eels. And while it looks okay, it's kind of disturbing, fitting with the theme and all, I like the hands better, but the hands are less damage, so it's like, why use it? At least this one has some really good art on it that I actually like a little more. But if I wanted to use the hands, yeah, I would have to basically not choose a room. Alright, well, now that I'm slowing monsters down more, I'm going to go ahead and, instead of my fire bats, I'll go ahead and put the zombie dogs back on, since all I'm really using is grasp and darts at this point. And good timing. See, the beautiful thing about the dogs is they can block monster movement. They can't go just right through the dogs. They have to get through them somehow. So there are uses to the dogs. And I'm going to reserve my pure judgment on them until I get to a higher difficulty level and try them myself. The problem is having another friend that was skeptical of it being bad, trying it and then saying yes, it is bad, has kind of ruined my impression of it. But I will still give it its fair shake and try it out myself. Oh, thorns damage. I'm not going to bother, actually. Yeah, these normal level blues only having one affix, and those affixes are usually pretty low. So this is a pretty good defensive build at this level. The enemies are slowed quite a bit, so they're going to take hopefully the full damage of the Grasp of the Dead, and then whatever's not slowed, the zombie dogs will block, or even what is slowed. So they're slowed, they're moving through it, and then there's the zombie dogs. It's like, hey, not only are you moving slow, but we're in your way, so what are you going to do now? Well, hopefully not kill the zombie dogs. Right? Hopefully. Oh, there's another champion over there. Oh wow, fast. Oh, Now why are they fast? They're nightmarish, and yet look how quickly they're moving. Oh, time to put that up. So here they're proving to be very useful. Good job, my minions. You guys deserve a Scooby snack. As you can see, the zombie dogs themselves don't do a lot of damage, but it adds up over time. Each hit, is effective. One damage here, 2 damage there. And again, they're meant to be defensive rather than offensive, so they're not supposed to be doing a lot anyway. I feel protection flowing through my body. Or that could be the bean burrito. I'm not entirely sure.
Demons have been known to devour their own young when no other nourishment is available. Their offspring, the imps, sometimes manage to flee and band together with other demon spawn. They rove in vicious packs, ready to descend upon the unwary traveler and rip his body to shreds with their tiny needle-sharp teeth.
Death awaits you all with nasty, sharp, pointy teeth.
Alright, let's take out Manglemaw, shall we? So he's sitting in the slow. You can see he's doing a number to my dogs. He's already killed one. But I killed him fast enough that it wasn't a big deal. So let's summon more dogs and listen to the lore.
The unburied are formed from human corpses that were flung into mass graves without a proper burial. This hideous amalgamation of bodies decomposes together into one being, bound by some foul magic. For all my knowledge, I could only flee from it. And I would expect any other sensible person to do the same.
Needs more time.
Alright, dogs, go that way, please. I can deal with the stuff behind me. That way. Attack the thing that's casting and summoning more. No, I'll do it myself! Bad dogs! Bad. Okay. More summoning, huh? No, slow you down so I can kill you. Oh, that did not go where I wanted it.
No, I will not allow you to bring that monster Leoric back to this world.
Oh.
Not ready yet.
Where are you going? Come back up here. Alright, he's going after the dogs. He's already killed one. Ooh, that one didn't have a lot of health left. Yeah, those dogs are dying pretty quick, and they're on a minute cooldown. Right now, not a big deal, but if the damage picks up, then it's going to be.
The tragedies in these lands have left many restless spirits in their wake, and they demand retribution. These spirits will take out their vengeance on any unsuspecting individual who may pass, for they believe that the blood of the living will yet restore the lives that were ripped away from them.
Alright, quest complete. Have my town portal. Anything good? 5.478. I did get my first helm with some magic find. Feeling a little horny, are we? To make you randy? Yeah, baby, yeah. It's the groovy witch doctor, baby. Alright.
When King Leoric came to court, he brought many nobles with him, and nobles, oddly enough, want noble crypts. So I showed up with my shovel, thinking to make easy profit by digging a few holes. Ha! There's no stopping their demands around here. Now, I eat, sleep, and breathe dirt, it seems.
Elite pack. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out these crypts that are not the correct ones. And I think that will be the end of this particular segment. Seems to be right about where I ended it each time in the beta. I'm going to try and come up with some fairly good spots to end these. Unfortunately, with these and just starting up again, I'm going over a lot and getting back into the groove of making them, so some of these videos are going to be longer than the typical half-hour segments that I usually do, and I usually like to keep them around half hours because I find that a half-hour segment is a little more digestible than going through a whole hour. You know, kind of, you think about it as kind of the same length of normal episodic content as far as TV shows and things like that go, so sometimes they might go, you know, to 45 to an hour. I'll try not to make them too much longer than that. Like I said, I'm going to try and find logical places to end at the same time, try and keep them bite-sized. This looks like this is going to be the short one, so this one will be quick, and then we'll get to the event on the next one. Yep, that was the short one. Look at that, straight line. Oop, here we go. Teleporters, huh? Whoa. More skeletons coming in. And they're all just gonna die thanks to the 80% slow.
Needs more time.
That dogs could use a bit of help. Let's just grab that. So that's one thing to keep in mind, you know, even though I'm not taking a lot of damage, I every now and then should look out for a health globe to make sure that my dogs don't die, since they benefit from them. Alright, I found another hood. That's a same armor. Okay.
I grow in power.
Oh, and here we've hit level 8. Horrify is my new skill. Let's take a look. Instead of my zombie dogs, I get Horrify. Spectral Mask that horrifies all enemies within 12 yards and causes them to run in fear for 4 seconds. Let's go ahead and do that. It'll replace my current dog, so now I have to worry about getting hits. This isn't bad. I've got an 80% slow here with my Grasp of the Dead. I can make this work without the dogs. And actually, it being a defensive ability will work along those lines as well. So real quick, what do we get here? Pants that are 19 armor. I lose the magic fine, but that's fine. I'm getting experience and more armor. And here I'm losing a little bit of movement speed for 1 more armor. Honestly, the change is ridiculously low that it's not a big deal. So I will continue to wear what I have. And then here we have 8 armor, same. Instead of pickup radius, this gives me vitality, which is 10 more life. I'll take it. Okay, now speaking of which, that is something I've noticed here. Oh, hold on, 8.6. Hey, look, improved attack speed. Not as much, not as fast as the one I'm currently using. One thing I noticed here, and I don't know if anyone's really gone to great pains to look at it, but you notice the vitality of my Witch Doctor gives me 10 points of health per point. That appears to be the same for Witch Doctors, Demon Hunters, and Wizards. Whereas the Barbarian gets 35 hit points per point of vitality. So Barbarians get a lot out of vitality as opposed to any other ranged class. And I think that's another, you have to think about it, it's not the biggest reason, as vitality is only one of the mitigation stats, but having Barbarians get about 300% more, you're getting about a third of what they do, less than a third really, means that, yeah, these range classes are going to be kind of squishy. So what that also means, though, is that your survivability stats, while vitality is good to have, it looks like the main survivability stats of a range class is going to be more along the lines of armor and resist.
Grave robbers have defiled my tomb. Now my husband writhes in torment because I do not rest at his side. Return my bones so that we may rest in peace.
You got it, lady.
So Horrify, this is one of those abilities that I can see being useful later on to keep things away from you, but at the same time, in Inferno it may not be that good. So for example, let me just get up in here, and there we go. I just feared those guys. I don't have to worry about them for a few seconds. I can hit them. That's great. That's, 12 yards, 4-second fear. Awesome. Here's the problem. Higher difficulty levels means CC reduction. Meaning that they will be feared for a less amount of time. Oops, did not mean to do that. So if they're only feared for about 1 second, then it might not be enough for me to really get away. I could still see it probably being useful. I'd have to see what runes I get with it. But seeing how quickly a lot of mobs break out of CC effects in Inferno makes me wonder the validity of using that skill in high-end play.
They have gone together to the unclaimed ground.
Oh, look at that. More armor. I lose vitality and experience, so I'm probably just not going to take it. Nope, that's thorns. Don't need. Seriously, those are not pants. It's barely even a loincloth from the looks of it. It's like a Speedo. I don't want to think about it. I've already got a witch doctor that I hang out with that wears nothing. He uses vanishing dye on all his gear. That would be, for those of you following the stream, you know him. That would be Snook, the naked witch doctor. He loves to torment me. Ah, well. Alright, so we've gone through the Cemetery of the Forsaken, gone through all of the tombs. So this, again, going to be a great stopping point as we have Hadrig forge us a crown.
You found the crown. Truth be told, I didn't think you'd make it back alive. Ah, needs repair. Should be no problem. It's good to work again. There. New as the day it was placed upon the Black King's head. I need something more than making spades to occupy my mind. I want my life to mean something.
We all seek meaning in grief. Maybe we will find it together. I have other news. Your apprentice died his final death. I am sorry.
Fool boy. Hope for the worst and you will not be disappointed. Thank you for the news.
Alright, very good. So, crafted some bracers off of the stuff I disenchanted. At this point, I'm ahead of the game with Matt, so I can probably start selling stuff to get a tiny bit of gold back. Looking good. Now, strength on this, not great. But you also have to remember that strength equals armor. So,
you should take a look.
I come out ahead of the game. That gives it over 20 armor. 21, in fact. So before we leave, let's just go ahead and grab the journals.
I wish that Leia could live a different life, a more normal life. But alas, such is not her fate. When I pass, there is none but her to continue my work, and the future of this world hangs in the balance.
Oh, so dramatic, Deckard. Alright, looking good, not bad progress, level 8, working our way towards the Skeleton King once again. Looking forward, again, still to fleshing out the Witch Doctor and having, getting these videos up and beyond the Skeleton King to actually talk about the content beyond. Alright, well, as usual, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Please thumb up the video if you liked it. It does help me out a lot. Questions, comments, suggestions here or at theshadowpost@gmail.com. I do read everything. If YouTube sends me a notification, I read it. Just because I don't get to respond to it right away doesn't mean I don't read it. And, I do really try to respond in a timely manner. And if not a timely manner, I do at least try to respond if I feel it warrants it, So I apologize to those that I don't get to. I know that a lot of people have been happy that I actually do respond, so I'm hoping to continue that as long as I can. You know, it depends on how busy I end up getting. So, all right, thanks again for watching. This is KageKaze inviting you to come back again soon.